Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.
This is True Crimecast. Jamie and John here with a special episode where we sit down and we take a phone call with Jamie Snow. We covered his case a couple weeks ago about the murder of Bill Little, and Jamie's been in prison since 2001, convicted of that crime. And after looking at all the details, John and I think he's innocent, so we wanted to give him a call. And I'm going to be honest, it's a tough conversation to have, John.
Man, it really is. I kind of live my life by the motto, love mercy and walk humbly I messed it up. Seek justice and love mercy and walk humbly before your Lord. And I feel like, in Bill's case, there's not really been justice if the person sitting behind bars that was convicted for that crime is not the person who committed it. So very heartbreaking. Yeah.
Yeah, so, for Bill's family and for Jamie and his family, and we're going to play that conversation for you now. It is, I don't know, to me it was very powerful. It's hard to ask somebody questions about their future when the past 25 years has been so bleak, but I think he ended on a very encouraging note, and we're excited for the future of his case, but we need you to act. We're going to put some things in the show notes for you to do, people to call and email to help get some DNA testing. So at the very least, so he can get another look at his case that I think would lead to an exoneration. So here we go, and enjoy the interview.
Jamie.
An individual in custody at Illinois River Correctional Center. To accept this call, press 5. To refuse this call, hang up now. To block this call and all future calls, press 9. You may enter a selection now. You may begin speaking now.
Hello?
Hi, Jamie. This is John and Jamie.
How y'all doing?
Hey, I'm doing well, man. How are you?
I'm just glad I was able to get through. I wasn't sure if I was going to be able to get on the phone on time or not, but it worked out.
I'm glad it worked out. I know your time is limited, so if it's okay with you, we can just jump right into it.
Yeah,
all right.
I'm ready.
All right. Well, Jamie, I'll let you meet the other Jamie, so he'll have the first question for you. And if there's anything that you just don't want to discuss, feel free to say that, and we can move on to the next one.
And we'll try to leave time at the end, so that way if you have something you want to say that we don't ask about, you can bring that up too. So we want to make this get the message you want out. And we've already given our listeners an overview of the case. We put that on last week's episode, so they have at least somewhat of an understanding of what's happening here. But we kind of want to make today's conversation about you. We've been fighting this for almost 30 years, and it's been obviously a huge impact on that entire community. And you've been behind bars for a long time. So why don't you take us back to that day on Easter Sunday in 1991? What do you remember about that day? You've told people you were home with your kids, you were eating dinner. What do you remember about that day?
I have real vivid memories of us getting up in the morning and watching the kids run around and look for their Easter baskets and eggs and stuff. I got a really, really vivid memory of that. And spending the day with my in-laws. And, that evening, we didn't have a car at the time. And, so my mother and father-in-law had come down, to our place and had said that, they were going to the grocery store and, pick some stuff up that we need anything. And, we needed, I don't know, some diapers and milk. I don't know exactly what it was, but they left, and when they came back to drop the stuff off, my mother-in-law had came in, and she had said, I don't know if they were listening to the radio or what, but she was the one that said, hey, turn the TV on. There's, somebody's been shot in a robbery. And we turned the TV on, and they had the news was on there talking about it. That was the first time I heard about it.
Sorry, John.
No, go ahead.
When and how did you find out that your name was involved at all in this?
I got arrested on an unrelated case, and one of the detectives had said something to my sister. And when I called my sister, she was like, well, the detectives are telling us this, they're telling us you're involved in this, this homicide case. And the next day when the detectives came to pick me up for the unrelated case, I asked them, what do you, why are you telling my sister this stuff, and the one detective came to me and he looked at my chin to see if I had a scar on my chin, which I did not, and looked to see if I had, earrings in my ear, which I did not, and that's how I found out. Later on, I had, and we found in these 8,000 pages of documents that they withheld from us, there were some reports in there where, I had originally told them, look, man, give me a polygraph, put me in a lineup, and later on I did, stand in a lineup and take a polygraph.
Which you passed.
Which I did pass. I did pass it. I've always been a skeptic of the polygraphs myself, to be honest with you. But, when I passed it, and I knew I was telling the truth. I'm a believer in them now. I really believe if you're telling the truth, I think you can fail one and still be innocent of a crime. But I really believe, man, that if you're truly innocent and you're truly telling the truth, and you've got a good polygrapher, they're going to find out. They're going to know.
Right.
And so.
Okay.
You mentioned all the pages of documents that did not get, the attention of your attorney. And I want to spend a minute talking about your attorney himself. I mean, I hate to talk ill of somebody, but this is a guy who was disbarred. He was imprisoned. He admitted to an alcohol problem, gambling, addiction, mental illness. Again, he was disbarred from being an attorney. And apparently all of these things were present during your trial. So I guess 2 questions. Did you notice any of these problems? Or when did you start to understand the full picture of how compromised your defense actually was?
I could smell the alcohol, but I didn't think that he was, I didn't realize how, strong, I guess, his alcohol addiction was. But, I kind of realized that things were running off the rails when I could not get them to sit down and talk to me about strategy. What are we going to do? How are we going to, what are your plans? Who are you going to talk to? These are all things that I think anybody that's facing that kind of a charge going to trial is going to want to, be able to communicate with their attorneys about, and I just couldn't get them to communicate with me on it. And, right before trial, I tried to tell the judge, hey, man, there's a problem here. I don't think they're ready, man. They can't be prepared. prepared, and turns out I was right.
When you brought that up to the judge, what was the response that you got?
The judge was like, he asked him, how much time have you spent here with him in the jail preparing for trial? And one lawyer said, 50 hours. And the other lawyer said 30 hours. And the judge was like, oh, that's 80 hours. That's plenty of time to prepare for a trial like this. And, I knew that wasn't true.
Right.
And, after I had been convicted, I filed a Freedom of Information request and got the books where, the attorneys have to sign a book when they come in and what time they got there and sign that same book when they leave. And, so I filed and got a copy of the book, and it turns out that, they spent a combined total of like 16 hours, but it was over a period of a year and a half, and it was like 5 minutes here, 10 minutes there. I think the longest amount of time that one of them spent with me was less than an hour, and when I brought that up to the judge, he just kind of like, he wasn't trying to hear it, but I'd say that's when I realized that, when I couldn't get them, to tell me what their plan was, and I knew that all of the witnesses that I had put on the witness list, for every single person that testified, there was somebody that could have testified, in an impeachment role, and these weren't necessarily people that we went out and found. That a lot of these people were people that were contained somewhere in the police reports, and so yeah. But I've said this a lot in the last couple of years since we found that they withheld so many documents from my attorneys. I blamed everything on my lawyers, and I still feel that they could have done more. But man, they hid so much material from them. Had they have given them everything that they withheld from us, those lawyers may have been looking at the case completely differently.
Right.
So yeah.
Jamie, we don't head into these innocence claims lightly. We're usually try to stay middle of the road till we figure out kind of what's what. And I'm going to be honest, with your case, it's just mind-boggling to me, all of the things that were not done or the things that were done for ridiculous reasons. And for example, now we have blood at the scene, fingerprints, shoe prints. They're not testing things. And the state has blocked a lot of your requests for testing. What do you think they're afraid of finding out? Is it just that they were wrong and they're going to have to reopen the case? Like, what is their hesitation for giving you an opportunity to prove your innocence through new evidence?
I honestly believe that they're worried about what it might show. If my attorneys at the Exoneration Project, they've said it over and over, if I was in Cook County, they would have already ordered the testing done. Cook County, if there's forensic evidence in the case and you want to test it, you're going to pay for it, have at it.
Sure.
They let you do it. In McLean County, where I'm from, they just don't want to do the testing. It's mind-boggling to me because you collected all of this stuff, man, because you felt that it was important, and now all of a sudden that you've got someone convicted, it doesn't matter. I guess you put on a big enough snitch parade and physical evidence has no bearing in cases in McLean County. As long as your snitch parade's long enough, physical evidence doesn't matter. And it's crazy. every day you see in the news, they're clearing cold cases off of, old DNA, old fingerprints, and but we're not going to stop, trying to get them to do it. So hopefully, sooner or later, and I have to believe it's going to happen, we're going to get a prosecutor in McLean County that actually cares about the truth. If you think I did it, then let's do the testing,
Do you have a court date or anything for the McLean County Circuit Court?
Not right now. No, we're waiting for the Conviction Integrity Unit out of the Illinois Attorney General's office to review the case. They're going to reach out to the state's attorney's office and ask them for a complete copy of all of the materials. Everything that was turned over. I mean, they turned over to my attorney like 975 pages of, discovery materials, police reports,
Mm-hmm.
And then, they hid 8,000. So the integrity unit wants all of that stuff. So, we're hoping that, they might have some sway with the prosecutor's office and maybe we can get something done.
Is the integrity unit a new operation up there? Is that a new opportunity for you, or is that something you've been trying to get the attention of that you're just now getting?
No, this is something new. The Illinois Attorney General, Kwame Raoul, Illinois is, I think, second in the nation for wrongful convictions.
Wow.
And so he saw a need for it. Before there was, I think, maybe 4 cities in the whole state of Illinois that had a conviction integrity unit. So if, like McLean County doesn't have one, so you can't get you can't get a conviction integrity unit to take a look at it because they don't have one. So this is a statewide thing, and it's just really getting off of the ground. So yeah, it's a new avenue.
Good. It's very needed for sure.
It is needed. I think every state should have a statewide integrity unit.
I think we only have a few minutes if you're only able to do 20. So I want to open it up to you if there's anything else you would like to say, or I'll just kind of give you the floor.
Well, I appreciate you guys. I appreciate what you're doing. It's important to, shed the light on our system of justice in this country. We live in the greatest country in the world, and but man, when your justice system gets it wrong, you're no different than some of these third world countries that get it wrong, and they need to do the right thing. And, I'm going to keep pushing, and I appreciate people like you that help turn a light on the injustices that are happening.
Yeah, we really just want to get to the truth, and I think for Bill Little, even like the truth is not that you hurt him in any way. So we want to get to the truth, and the first part of that is clearing your name, I think. And I know you've been waiting for most of your life, but is there anything that outside people can do? Anybody they can call, anybody they can email? Can our listeners help in any way?
You can go to, our website, freesammysnow.com. You can go to the Snow Files, podcast.net if you really want to get a deep dive into the case. There's things that, there are things that people can do. I got a clemency petition pending right now in the governor's office. You can write the governor. So yeah, go on there and get involved. If you look at my case and you feel like an injustice has happened, then just get involved and help us. That's what I would ask people to do.
Jamie, we appreciate your call, and if your time's running out, just want to say again, thank you for calling in, and And we will put that out there for our listeners to do everything you just said.
Yeah, and listen, I appreciate you guys, and I look forward to maybe, one of these days meeting you face to face on the outside. I mean, we got some good stuff going on. I'm far from hopeless.
That's awesome to hear, because we I'll speak for myself, very supportive of everything you're doing, and hope that can happen. We're not too far down the road. Would love to meet up, just say hello and shake your hand.
Yeah, and before that cut us off, one thing that you said that is absolutely true, and I've said it a million times. Bill Little deserves the truth. Do the test the DNA for him.
Sure.
He deserves the truth. His life was worth more than just sweeping things under the rug. Because and listen, nobody wants justice for Bill Little more than I do. Nobody.
Right.
Yeah.
And I don't mean that in a disrespectful way to the victim's family, to Bill's family. I don't. But nobody wants it for him more than I do, because justice for him is justice for me.
Well, so
Absolutely.
Jamie and I are men of faith, and our prayers are with you and everyone working with you. So keep in touch, and we'll do the same.
I'll do, man. And if you guys, if you ever want to talk again, just reach out.
All right.
And I'll give you a call. I got you on my list now, so I can call.
Yes, sir.
Sounds great. Thank you, Jamie.
All right.
All right.
Thank you, guys.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Again, that was an interview with Jamie Snow. We want to say thank you for Jamie and for all of his team that helped make this happen. We really appreciate it. And please take a moment. If you have listened to our other episode with the full case, and then after hearing Jamie, you feel like you need to do something, please check out the podcast notes. We'll have some links and or phone numbers or addresses. I really want us to do as much as we can. If there's an innocent person living in jail for over 30 years for this, then it is absolutely heartbreaking, and anything that we can do to help is greatly appreciated.
Absolutely. So if you haven't already, go back and listen to the episode where we covered the full case. We didn't have time to dig into that with Jamie because of the shortened window of time we had him for. So go listen to that, listen to Jamie, and then take action if you feel called to do so. We appreciate you guys listening as always, and we'll be back with more information about Jamie as soon as we get it.
Until next crime, this has been True Crimecast.
You've listened to True Crimecast, distributed by Stoveleg Media. Check out stoveleg.com to find out more about your hosts and to find other podcasts to listen to. Stoveleg Media, igniting conversation.